You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, guys, it has been several months, probably closer to 3 months, that Shannon Sharpe has last been on Undisputed with Skip Bayless. He left after the NBA Finals, and he's been giving interviews, with different people, talking about Skip, talking about FS1. But yet, here we are today, guys, this many months later, and Shannon Sharpe is still talking about Skip Bayless and Undisputed. Now, he's actually on ESPN working with Stephen A. Smith, who is a very, very good friend of Skip Bayless. He's on that show. But also Stephen A. Smith has his own podcast, and Shannon Sharpe has his own podcast as well. Well, Shannon Sharpe actually appeared on Stephen A. Smith's podcast, and he got real about Skip Bayless. Now, some of this stuff we already knew, but there was also some new stuff too, because Shannon Sharpe was actually reflecting on his time on Undisputed FS1. And he was talking about all these other people, but he didn't mention, Skip Bayless as far as people that he was actually getting along with over there, to say the least. So we're going to actually react to Shannon Sharpe actually appearing on Stephen A. Smith's show. And we got the clip here. So let's just go ahead and dive into it, guys. You can see here on the spun. Shannon Sharpe has shocking admission about relationship with Skip Bayless. Now, Shannon has said in the past that him and Skip, they were not friends. He made that pretty clear. Now, Skip Bayless, when it comes to these debates, he takes this very, very serious. I mean, this man actually told his wife before they actually got married, you will always be second to this. Talking about his job, talking about debating. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this clip here from Stephen A. Smith's show. So let's go ahead and play it now.
Joked about and talked about our dogs, and she would show me pictures of her dogs. I would show her pictures of my dog. And then the makeup room, Sevia started off, and then Jumpsuit, Joe, and then Brett, and Yuki, and Brina, and New Sheen, and then wardrobe was Autumn and Tracy. And Sant, who was security, who walked me every single day for 7 years to my car. Edo, and then I would get breakfast. Carlos and his staff, props, Jeremy and Michelle. That's what I'm gonna miss. That's what I miss, Stephen A. Honestly, honest to God. Yeah, I love debating. I thought I had gotten very good at it. But that's what I missed, because they became my family, because I saw them for 240 days a year for 7.
Now, watch what Stephen A. says here.
7 years. And the finality of it was over.
You do understand that in that lengthy answer that you just gave to my question, you did not mention Skip Bayless one time. You do know that.
I do. I am very, very grateful for the opportunity. I would be remiss, and I can't say it enough, that he fought to get me on First Take. Mm-hmm. When all the bosses said, no, we want to go to a media guy, a journalist across from you, he said Shannon Sharpe could do the job. And he fought for me, and he really did. And I think I've been as humble and as gracious as I possibly could in giving him his kudos for that.
Now I'm going to stop right there. That reminds me, because before Shannon actually came on to Undisputed, he was at CBS. Actually, he was out of the job. Now, Jason Whitlock came out the other day and said that, well, actually like a week ago, saying that this whole thing with Skip and Shannon, he's ready to expose Shannon Sharpe, because he says he truly knows what actually went down to Shannon Sharpe actually leaving Fox. And if you actually look at his antics when Shannon was actually at a Lakers game on the sideline trying to fight a player, Whitlock says he knows more than what other people actually know as to the reason why Shannon Sharpe is out at Fox. I think he was kind of insinuating that the people at Fox wanted him gone, just like the people at CBS wanted him gone. So just throwing it out there. But Whitlock has not come out and said the reason why he believes, or the reason why he knows Shannon Sharpe is no longer at Fox.
But where I push back and where I get upset is that when people say Skip Bayless made Shannon Sharpe, Skip Bayless did not make Shannon Sharpe relatable. Skip Bayless did not make Shannon Sharpe the storyteller that he is. Skip Bayless did not make Shannon Sharpe the football player that could break down plays and say, this is what happened, that's what happened, and this is why the play worked or it didn't work. Yeah, I'm going to miss aspect of it. Yes, I miss debating him, but it had gotten to the point over the last 6 or 7 months, and I won't allow it to ruin the 6 great years that we had, but it had gotten to the point that we needed to go our separate ways. And I wish it could have been handled a little different, Stephen A. That's the only thing that I wish. I wish it could have been handled differently. But it was handled the way that it was. And I will never, ever forget the opportunity that Fox and FS1 afforded me. But this notion, well, nobody knew who I was. Well, I was a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but before I stepped foot in Fox, I had won 3 Super Bowls before I had stepped foot in Fox. At one point in time, I held every statistical record a tight end can hold in the NFL. Most yards in a game, 1,000-yard seasons, catches, touchdown yards. I had all of those. Was I as known or as popular then as I am now? No. And I owe that to FS1, and I owe that to Skip for giving me that opportunity.
Now, to everybody that watched Shannon play as a player, we all know he was a hell of a tight end. And tight ends, back then really weren't the receivers that they are now. Even though Shannon Sharpe had a lot of receptions, he was a great tight end. But when it came to sports media, he's definitely more popular now than when he was actually at CBS.
But what Skip and I didn't have the relationship that I have with the people that I missed. Basically, Skip would get to work, I would get to work. I was in my dressing room, he was in his dressing room. It was really like a heavyweight fight. We barely talked. I mean, honest to God. We might say hello. We go to the bathroom. If we're passing each other in the bathroom, hello, that was it.
Wow.
It was not a carry on a conversation and then like all of a sudden we get up there and we do what we do and we carry on. No.
Well, why not?
It was very little communication.
Why was that the case?
Well, I take my cue from him. He was not a guy that was very talkative in the mornings.
That is
now,
true.
remember, I had worked with him a little bit on First Take. Once when you were there and a couple of times when you weren't there.
Yeah.
When you weren't there.
Yeah.
So I noticed that during the breaks, he would get up and leave. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. So I'm thinking to myself, after a couple of times of seeing that, I'm seeing that he's in a mode, he's in a zone in which he doesn't want to be bothered. He's treating this like an actual game. Like I might have my friends, I got my friends, but when they're on the other team, we're not communicating. We're not having the type of relationship that once the game was over or once the game started, we were going to have. And so I just learned like, okay, he doesn't want to be bothered. I'm cool with that because I could do 2 things. Guys will tell you the way I was in the locker room, I'm joking around, having a great time. Yeah. I'm telling jokes. And the moment is like, okay.
Well, look at you and I.
I'm locked in.
I mean, look at you and I.
Yes.
Look at you and I. We're the same in that regard. I mean, it's we're joking around, having a good time, and then the second it's time to debate, we turn it on. It's just that simple.
It's time to debate.
Exactly.
And you are a lot.
But the difference is here, guys. We know that Stephen A. and Skip are extremely close. Extremely close. So when they weren't on the show together, they were still talking. I mean, in the case of Shannon and Skip, Shannon's like, we may say hi if we see each other in the restroom. That was it.
A lot of times, like during the break, you're quiet. I mean, you're looking up stats. Okay, we have the topics of where we're going to go. But Skip was different. We didn't have the type of relationship. I think in 7 years, Skip and I, we had brunch once. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't think Skip's a bad guy, but I didn't develop the type of relationship or the type of, let me take this back. I didn't develop the type of work relationship with him that I did with some of the guys that I played with when I was in Denver or I was in Baltimore, or I didn't develop the type of work relationship that I have with some of the young ladies in wardrobe or in makeup or Bonnie or things of that nature, because I didn't get the sense that's what he wanted. So I'm not a guy that's going to force anything. If you show me that you want to have a relationship outside of work, I'll accept that.
Right.
If you want to have a relationship that's strictly work and it's confined to those 2.5 hours that we are at work, and when you come into the building, you don't say anything to me, and when we exit the building, we don't say anything, and the relationship that we have is for 2 hours and 30 minutes, I'm cool with that too. I'm there to do a job. I'm not there to per se make friends. Now, if I'm a friendly guy.
Yes, you are.
And if that's something that you want, okay, fine. But I'm not forcing anything. And I got 3 dogs. I got enough friends. And at 55 years of age, right. Daryl McCormick, Bucket, Keith Burns. Hey,
yes,
I'm good.
Well,
and then everything else happens.
I'll say this. I'll come to Skip's defense in the regard that that's the way he has always been when it comes to his work. He's focused. He's locked in. He doesn't say much before a show. That's just the way that he is. He was that way with me as well. No harm.
And I learned, Stephen A., I learned that early on.
Yeah.
So for me to try to get him out of that, because he would have taken it as me trying to get him off his game. And to try to gain some type of advantage against him.
Right.
So I want him to be at his absolute best. I want him to be in a mode where he's comfortable, he's focused.
Right.
He's not a guy that does a lot of talking. Up until the pandemic, I was getting up at 3 a.m. because I had to get the dogs situated, get them taken care of, showered, get to work because we had production at 4 o'clock. That was his routine. That's what he liked to do. Once the pandemic happened and we didn't have production meetings for like 4 or 5 months,
right?
But we still was able to do the show. That was for me because I didn't really get anything out of production meetings because me and my researcher and my producer had already spent 2 hours the night before talking about what we was going to discuss, and then we would go down and for another hour discuss it again. So me and my producer are doing 3 hours. I'm doing 3 to 5 hours on my own. And we doing a show for 2.5 hours. I was talked out.
So you heard that, guys, right there. Shannon Sharpe talking about his relationship with Skip Bayless. It was strictly on the air. That's pretty much the only time that they actually did talk. I mean, he said that Skip seemed like he didn't want a relationship with him. And he took the debates as like a heavyweight fight. But we know that Skip loves Michael Irvin. I'm pretty sure they actually talk, when they're not on the air. Something really did happen with Skip and Shannon Sharpe. Maybe their personalities. Shannon says that he's a homebody and he's happy with his dogs. He said that before in the past as well. But everyone saw the deterioration of the on-air relationship, especially after DeMar Hamlin in January. Everybody knew that the writing was on the wall. This thing is over with. And I even said, man, before the end of the year, Shannon's going to be out of there. And that's exactly what happened. He left the day after the NBA Finals. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.